Well, hello there, and welcome back once again. Ask a Lawyer here on CP24. John Scholes and Lior Samfiru on your screen momentarily. Good to have you along for the hopefully entire 30 minutes. I can promise you one thing: you will learn a lot about workplace rights and your employment life. That is why you tune in every week to the show. Beyond the half hour, we always encourage you to reach out to Lior and his team. A couple different ways. Phone call is good, right? 1-855-821-5900. Back that up with an email, ask@EmploymentLawyer.ca. We'll give those out throughout the show and some other contact information as well. We always have a full docket, as they say, of things to get through. Our main topic a little later on in the half hour will be mistakes companies make that you need to know about. We are more than happy to enlighten you on those talking points in just a bit. Some phone calls from one of our radio shows and a bunch of other stuff. We'll dip into a little disability law later on with Lior as well. But we'll get started momentarily with Lior. Always start off with a week that was or a case of the day. Lior, what do you got cooking on the show today? Hey, there he is. How are you, pal?
Hey, John, great to be here to talk about employment law and to demystify this topic. You know, I'm on the show for 30 minutes every week, but beyond that, I'm in the office answering lots more questions and talking to people, informing them about their workplace rights. A lot of people are very concerned about their jobs now, given what's happening with our neighbors south of the border with tariffs and other issues. And I've been speaking with a lot of people whose job has already been affected. Well, the good news is we're in Ontario. We have rights. You have rights. Whether you lost your job or your job has changed or you're put on a temporary layoff, there's things that you can do. There are rights that you have. And on the show, you will learn what those rights are. But as I said, beyond the show, you can reach me in the office by phone or email. That contact information will be given throughout the show. Don't hesitate. No bad questions, especially now. There's only answers and solutions. So let me start off with the case that came across my desk just over the past few days. I spoke with a gentleman that recently in a meeting with a coworker did something inappropriate. He made some inappropriate comments and behaved in a way that wasn't particularly professional, completely not something that you should do. This coworker, understandably, was very upset and went to complain to HR. HR initially did the right thing. They investigated, they talked to everyone, and then they called this person, my client, into a meeting and they said, hey, we found out you behaved inappropriate. We can corroborate that. In light of that, we're going to let you go. We have cause to let you go. We're not going to pay you any severance. We're simply going to terminate you for cause. Now, this person had worked for the same company for 6+ years, never had an issue before, and he called me wanting to understand his rights. So here's the thing. Clearly what this person did is wrong. Not making any excuses. He should not have done what he did. He should have behaved better. But that's not the question. The question is whether what he did is enough to be cause. Is it enough to deprive him of his severance? And the answer is no. A single incident of misconduct is almost never going to be cause, unless it's violence or sexual harassment or something like that. It's just not going to be cause. He had a clean record, 6+ years, never had an issue. He shouldn't have done what he did, but he was deserving of more than a termination for cause. Maybe a warning or a final warning, maybe even some sort of a short suspension, but not a termination for cause. I want to remind everyone, it is extremely difficult to terminate for cause. Just because you did something wrong like this person did does not mean you can be let go without severance for cause. If the company wanted him gone because of that, they could have done so as long as they terminated him for cause, without cause with severance. I'm going to help him get severance. For him, that could be as much as 9 months' pay. So there's an important reminder there for employees and employers. Just because something wrong has been done does not mean you get to deprive the employee of severance.
So, Lior, quickly, just to reiterate, if they wanted to say, you know, we've had enough of this guy's act, let's just get rid of him, they could do that, but they have to pay him. It's a without cause termination with severance, yeah?
Exactly. They could have terminated without cause. They could have said, you know what, we just don't want this person here. Yep. Let's just pay him severance and let him go. That is legal. What made this illegal, what made this a wrongful dismissal, is to try to fire him for cause and not pay him any severance.
All right, you want to catch a radio show Lior and I are on, simply go to EmploymentLawyer.ca to find a station close to you. We get phone calls on the air all the time. We play them back here, and we learn from them. That's the point. So phone call number one for this show, Lior, is coming up right now. Listen up.
My wife was laid off, and she just received this week a notice of termination. She's been employed at this location for 13 years. They have offered her 8 weeks of severance, plus a gratuitous on top of that of $2,500.
How does that work out? What do you think?
Oh, so here's an extra $2,500. Well, this is nonsense. Obviously, this is a very common scenario. This is probably 70% of calls that I get. I was let go. They offered me this. Is it enough? And the answer almost always, it's not even close to being enough. This person was offered 8 weeks plus an extra $2,500. The real question is not why she was let go. The real question is how much severance she is owed. Well, we're going to use my favorite tool, the severance calculator, to find out. And you can do that yourself by going to EmploymentLawyer.ca. Let's use that right now and let's see what the real amount is. So this person is a supervisor, been there for 13 years, 59 years of age. Severance offered is 8 weeks plus $2,500. No, she's owed right around 16 months pay. 16 months, okay? Not 8 weeks, 16 months. That's a wrongful dismissal with a nice big cherry on top. It's illegal, and that's why you go to the severance calculator to find out what the real amount is.
Great start, Lior. We're going to take a short pause. When we come back, as I mentioned off the top, our main topic, mistakes companies make that you need to know about. That is on the other side as we continue lots more Ask a Lawyer here on CP24. Stay with us.
Lost your job? Disability denied? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from EmploymentLawyer.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
And welcome back to Ask a Lawyer on CP24. Thanks for hanging in through the break. We got lots more to go, our main topic as well, but I always give you the information how to reach out to Lior and his team. Phone calls always first, 1-855-821-5900. Back it up with that email right below, ask@employmentlawyer.ca. And for anything else, you can scan that QR code in the top right of your screen. Okay, it's main topic time, and this is great for you. And by the way, if you're an employer that watches the show weekly, this is good for you as well. Mistakes companies make that you need to know about. Number one, Lior, firing an employee for cause when it is not justified. Big mistake.
Man, is that a big mistake for sure? And we touched on that earlier on the show. Remember, a termination for cause is the death penalty of the employment relationship. It's reserved for the worst offenders. It is very difficult to terminate for cause and can only happen if an employee is guilty of some very serious misconduct, when that misconduct is repeated and where the company has no option but to terminate for cause. It's only then that the company cannot pay someone. Otherwise, severance has to be paid. And too often, companies jump to a termination for cause, trying to deprive an employee of severance before they should, before they reach that level. So if you've been let go for cause, unless you know you did something terrible, you're owed your full severance. That could be as much as 24 months pay, and you need to give me a call.
Mistake number two, Lior, the companies sometimes make is making a big change to your job, but without your permission, yeah?
An employer does not have the right to make significant changes to the terms of employment. Now, it's easy for the employer to think, hey, I'm the employer, I can do whatever I want. Well, no, we have laws. Your employer cannot make these big changes, and if they do, it can result in what we call a constructive dismissal. If your job, your hours, your pay, demotion, location, if those have been changed, you may have the right to say, no, I am not okay with that, okay? I'm gonna treat that as a termination and get my severance. Of course, before you do that, before you walk into your employer's office and say, that's it, constructive dismissal, I'm out of here, you gotta give me a call because we have to do it the right way.
And our third one for the topic on the show this week, Lior, about big mistakes that companies make that you need to know about. They don't make it, well, they refuse actually to make accommodations for employees that have medical restrictions, yeah?
You know, accommodation, the obligation to provide accommodation is an important one. It's under our human rights legislation, whether it's modified duties or modified hours, and it's not easy for an employer. Oftentimes employers have to work hard, and it can even be costly. So I see employers saying, we just don't want to do this. Well, too bad. You have to. That's why we have human rights laws. An employer has to accommodate whatever the doctor says. If there's a disability, if they need this accommodation and support, they have to do that. If they don't, again, it's a human rights violation. Even if it's difficult and it causes logistical problems, an employer must provide that accommodation. So what do you do if you're an employee? You get a doctor's note to be as specific as possible about what your limitations are and what type of accommodation you need. And if your employer doesn't do that, if your employer doesn't want to provide that accommodation, come back to us when you're 100%. That's illegal. You got to pick up the phone at that point and call me right away.
And we always tell you to do exactly that. With any questions about this topic or anything else, always reach out to Lior and make that phone call. But we got time for another phone call from one of our radio shows, Lior. So let's listen up and drill down on this one a little deeper. Here it comes.
I was recently pressured to resign from my position based on a private encrypted chat. Fortunately, the chat did take place during work hours, during downtime, but ultimately they cited me for workplace respect, code of conduct, and social media policies for my resignation. And there was a lot of pressure tactics and duress in order to settle this. I was just wondering if they had grounds to pressure someone to resign.
Pressure tactics, forced to resign, all those things are big red flags, yeah?
Well, they're massive, but the key is you should not resign because someone's telling you to resign. It's like, well, someone made me eat a cheeseburger. Well, I don't want a cheeseburger. I'm not going to eat it. It's the same thing here. You cannot be resigning if you don't want to, because resignation is something that you do voluntarily. You don't want to deprive yourself of severance. So if your company wants you to resign, the answer should always be, I'm not doing it. If you want me gone, pay me my severance and I'll go. But here's the thing. If you can prove that you resigned because they made you, they forced you, they threatened you, in the eyes of the law, it's still a termination and they have to pay you severance. The concern is if you don't have no proof, they told you things and that's why you resigned, it could be very difficult to get you that severance, which is why I say the answer should always be, I know you want me to resign, employer, but I'm not doing it. If you want to let me go, get me my severance and I'll go. Then you'll get EI as well. If you just resign and you can't prove the pressure, no severance, no EI, not a good thing. So please don't do that.
All right, Lior, thank you very much for that. We'll take a short break, and on the other side, we're going to slide over and switch tracks a little bit to the other side, the other half of what the firm does with disability law. That is all coming up right here on Ask a Lawyer on CP24.
Lost your job? Disability denied? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from EmploymentLawyer.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Welcome back. Ask a Lawyer here on CP24. As promised, we're going to switch gears momentarily here with Lior, and you want to reach out to Lior and the disability lawyers on that side of the hallway. It is simple. Same number, 1-855-821-5900, and the email this time around, ask@disabilityrights.ca. And again, the QR code is there for you anytime. Now, Lior, I know you handle most of the employment side of the firm, but does Savan and his team do the disability side? But as we always mention, there's always cross-pollination between the two. So tell me a little bit about exactly how that works, because I did mention it going into the break about you guys doing disability as well, right?
So, John, the fact that we have a whole team at the office dealing exclusively with disability denials and being cut off, that tells you how often that happens. People either being denied or cut off short-term disability, long-term disability, or CPP disability benefits. Happens all the time. Why? Because insurance companies often think people won't fight back. They'll feel that that's it. If we can frustrate them, that will be it. Well, guess what? Once they hear from us, they change their tune. Just this week, we're dealing with a matter where someone was cut off disability benefits after about a year, despite the doctor saying that they cannot work. They filed an appeal with the insurance company, which of course was denied immediately. And then their employer started giving them a hard time, telling you better come back to work or else. Well, we resolved that matter. We got involved. The insurance company backed off. The employer backed off. So I want you to understand that your insurance company should follow what your doctor is saying. And if they don't follow your doctor, they're going to follow us because they'll have to. So if you've been cut off disability benefits, you're on long-term or short-term disability, CPP disability, if you've been cut off, let's talk. We have a whole team dedicated to helping you, ensuring that that doesn't happen to you.
And by the way, consultations are free. To use that phone number as well, so don't hesitate in that regard. We got a phone call from our radio show in this regard as well when it comes to disability, Lior. So tuck in and listen up. Here it comes, pal.
I'm in a bit of a dilemma. I've been denied long-term disability twice. They're saying that I don't have enough medical documentation. I have a concussion and I'm having trouble getting over it. So right now I'm not getting any pay at all. I did try going back to work with modified part-time, but I found I couldn't do it because I did send in more information and I haven't heard back from them. So I was just wondering if you felt that possibly I did have a claim to pursue.
Incredibly frustrating, yeah.
Incredibly frustrating, but unfortunately also incredibly common. Yes, she does have a case to pursue. One of the ways insurance companies try to frustrate individuals on disability is by asking for more medical information, then complaining that it's not enough, and then the employee, they hope, will put up their hand and says, what more can we do here? Yes, it's important to have medical information, but if your doctor says you've been diagnosed with a concussion in this case, or other medical condition, and you cannot work, what more do they want? As long as it's clear and as long as it's concise, your insurance company should do what your doctor says. If they don't, they're doing something wrong. They're in breach of the insurance policy, the policy that obligates them to pay you. So talk to us about it. Let's make sure that we don't let them get away with that. Speak to your doctor. If your doctor says, hey, I've given them everything they need, and the insurance company still is not doing what it's supposed to, still not giving you the benefits, they'll hear from us and they'll do what they're supposed to then.
Lior, we got time before we break to get to a quick question, so I'll give it to you right now from email, by the way. It says, why are long-term disability benefits often cut off after 2 years?
Insurance companies love cutting off people after 2 years. Now, under the insurance policy, the definition of disability changes after 2 years. The first 2 years, the definition is that you cannot do your job. After 2 years, the definition is that you cannot do any job. So oftentimes after 2 years, insurance companies say, well, you don't meet this new definition, so we're going to cut you off. And too often individuals think, well, they say I don't meet it, so it's done. It's not done. If you still know you cannot work and your doctor supports you, the insurance company should not cut you off after 2 years. In most cases, when they cut you off after 2 years, that's not legal. That's a breach of a policy. Again, call us. Let's discuss this. Please don't assume anything that the insurance company is doing it correctly. Even after 2 years, you have a right to stay on benefits, potentially till the age of 65.
Okay, Lior, we'll take a short break here, wrap it up with another phone call for this week. That's on the other side as we continue more Ask a Lawyer. This is CP24. Stay with us.
Lost your job? Disability denied? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from EmploymentLawyer.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Okay, welcome back. Ask a Lawyer here on CP24. Lior Samfiru, always reachable, and his team as well, both on the employment side and the disability side. The phone number, 1-855-821-5900. Email ask@employmentlawyer.ca and scan that QR code as well for any information and contact as well. Lior, we're going to wrap up the show this week with another phone call. By the way, across the GTA, EmploymentLawyer.ca to find a radio station in your hood where you can listen and call into the show. So here comes that phone call, Lior. Let's have a listen.
Been laid off. I was working there for 18 years, and I was getting ready to send in to ask for my severance. But in the last 3 weeks, my health has deteriorated. Does this change everything? Because I still get the benefits. And because I still get the benefits, they have long-term disability, I believe, on there. Should I not ask for my, what should I do?
A lot to break down here, right? A lot of years, disability, severance. Wow.
Yeah, we can focus on this quite a bit, but the first thing I would say to this person is apply for long-term disability benefits. Apply for those benefits, because if you qualify, stay on those benefits, okay? Because potentially you can stay on them for till the age of 65, so that's the great thing. Here's the thing though, if you've been off work, it's quite possible that your employer cuts you off those disability benefits. You may get the other benefits, the dental and the prescription benefits, but you may not have the disability benefits. If you've been cut off those benefits, then your employer may have to step into the shoes of the insurance company and pay you themselves until the age of 65. All right? So right off the bat, apply for benefits. If you don't have them, call me, or certainly if you get denied benefits, call me. Now, the last issue to discuss is that of severance. Yes, of course he still gets severance, even though he is now unable to work. Potentially even more severance, because it's going to be more difficult to find another job. He's not healthy. So severance gets even more. Now, we're going to go and use the severance calculator one more time right now at EmploymentLawyer.ca, and let's see what severance for this individual is. We know he's been there for 18 years, 55 years of age in a technical role. Severance for him easily will be 18 months. And if he's sick, it could be as high as 24 months, 18 months. By the way, we talked about the severance calculator. Completely free and anonymous. You couldn't put in a credit card number if you wanted to. You can also have the ability to contact me directly from the severance calculator if you wanted to. So it's a great tool. Use it. Millions of people across Canada have used it. Make sure you do as well.
And always a good way to wrap up the show with another phone call. You want to find out how to get one of those on the air, listen to our radio show. I'll give you that information right now. EmploymentLawyer.ca. There's going to be a station near you. You can do so. Beyond that, simply call Lior and his team. The phone calls are always there. And the consultations, if it's a disability question, are absolutely free. That number, 1-855-821-5900. Ask at EmploymentLawyer.ca. And as Lior just mentioned, always use it. Free and anonymous, especially with that severance calculator. That is PocketEmploymentLawyer.ca. Beyond that, cp24.com/ask a lawyer, and we'll catch you, same show, right here next week. Thank you so much for tuning in.